Michigan State. Yes. Michigan State versus Bryant. Michigan State. Absolutely. Absolutely. We have to stop here because Michigan State, this is the first lottery player that we're probably going to get into in this whole
maybe lottery player.
Maybe lottery player. This is so Jase Richardson, for people who don't know, this is the son of Jason Richardson. Yes. Very creative naming by the parents there. Jason Richardson was, for younger viewers, because we got to do this now. I'm not old, but like there's people who don't like know these things. Dunk contest legend, really good guard in the NBA for a number of years, particularly in the early to mid 2000s with the Golden State Warriors, and also played elsewhere. But that's where most people remember his run. His son plays at Michigan State. He is listed 6'3", right. And if he's 6'1", you know, like
changes things
for some people. But I like his game. He's quick. He can shoot. He can shoot, like not just having to create, but he could come off screens and shoot. I think that's important if you're not somebody who can just have the ball all the time. Right. Obviously has some athleticism. It's in the genes. But I like his game a good deal. And I would, if he's 6'3", I think he's a lottery talent for sure.
Absolutely. And one thing I always say, and Tom Izzo especially, but any coach, like watch a coach and who they give the ball to down the stretch of games, especially important games. Whenever I was scouting Anthony Black in a previous draft class, a big red flag for me, he never got the ball down the stretch. The coach always put the ball in Ricky Council Jr.'s hands. Or not junior, he's like the fourth or something.
The fourth, yeah.
Well, yeah.
yeah.
And so you always want to pay attention to that, because that tells you two things. The coach trusts him to make plays, and his teammates trust him to make plays. And Jase Richardson always has the ball down the stretch. And when he does, in Tom Izzo's motion offense, where people aren't dribbling the ball all the time, Jase Richardson's the one they're going to make plays, not just to score, but to facilitate and make plays for others. He curls off screens really well, so he knows how to cut off the ball. Yes. He's a dynamic player. I like him a lot, man. 84% from the free throw line, 41% from three. If he's that size and he has like a nice wingspan and hand size, legit, man. I'm telling you, legit.
Yeah, I expect him to kill the shooting drills at the combine. I think he's probably one of the best pure shooters in this draft. I'm excited to see him in this tournament because I also think we may see him for a while, given Michigan State. Like Michigan State could legitimately get to the Final Four. Jase Richardson's good. Okay, speaking of UConn or Oklahoma, I think this is a stop here because we actually have there's a few guys. There's a few guys in this UConn Oklahoma game. Yeah, so we're here now for people keeping track. West 8-9 seed, UConn Oklahoma. Who stands out to you the most? Because there's actually a few guys here we could be.
Well, one is Jeremiah Fears is the best player out of all of those guys. The run he's been on, the growth, right? You also want to look for growth. And the growth in his game from the beginning of the season to now is by leaps and bounds. His ability to finish at the rim and through contact, he wasn't able to do that early in the season. Now he can, and he does it really, really well. And he's faster than anybody else on the floor. His shot, that J needs some work. He's got to follow through higher. He's got a very low release. He kind of pushes the ball instead of shoots the ball.
Does he remind you of Jaden Ivey a little bit because of the size and speed combination? And we had a lot of questions about Jaden Ivey's shot coming out of college, which is, I feel like it's actually gotten better since. But does he remind you of that?
He reminds me of Markelle Fultz.
I don't think that's better.
That's who he reminds me of. But Fultz, his issue was mental. You know what I mean? Like, he hurt his shoulder, and then all of a sudden he didn't want to raise his arms above his head.
The shot was never quite there with him either. Fears is interesting because there's a world where, because of the potential playmaking, I'll say, because I don't know to what degree he's going to be like an awesome playmaker, if he's going to be an awesome playmaker or whatever the case may be. But I think he has the upside to where, if you look back 5 years from now, depending on where he goes, because it comes down to fit with a lot of these dudes, and he's a projected lottery pick. He's another one where he's listed 6'4". We'll see. We'll see. But 27% 3-point shooter. Athleticism plus, like, absolutely. Quickness is there. Has the burst, can score clearly. There's some playmaking there. I think he's one of these dudes who will see another level of playmaking after
in the league.
Like in the league, yeah, because of the way, honestly, the way college basketball is.
Him and Jase Richardson both, like they're both like that. They're going to be able to play make better.
And there's probably more guys like that. And also, I do think there's room for him to grow as a shooter. One, the shooting is so bad, but two, he's an 85% free throw shooter on volume, like on 6.3 attempts per game. But Jeremiah Fears, to me, he's the one in this game like I'm most curious about as a pro. I'd be kind of scared to take him too early. Like he has to really go to the right spot who could develop him into a better jump shooter.
Yeah, I mean, but he creates so much space.
Yeah.
So much. Liam McNeeley for UConn.
Mm-hmm.
High-level connector.
Yeah.
But I think he's just a high-level connector. I don't see anything more than that. He struggles against elite athletes. Struggles.
He's very, very inconsistent. He had a 3-game stretch this year where it was like 10 points. I'm talking about 10, 38, and 12, I think, consecutively. Right. Had a single-digit game the other night also in the I think it was a Big East tournament. He's talented. I don't know what he is. He's very streaky.
He's a glue guy connector. Picture a guy that's going to give you 3-point shooting. He's going to facilitate on secondary actions out of the short roll or beating a closeout, but he can't really handle ball pressure well. He doesn't penetrate well against better athletes, and he lives at the free throw line in college.
Do you think it's a given that he enters?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Not even a 40% shooter from the field in college. That's always worrisome for me. It's not a hard and fast rule where it's like just because you're that in college, like, yes, guys develop differently. Liam McNeeley is one of the, I would call him a lottery talent because people have put him there.
Right.
He would scare the shit out of me to take him.
I wouldn't take him in the lottery.
I wouldn't.
Not for a high level connector.
He's more of a project to me. But yeah,
I don't even think he's a project. Like I know what he is.
I don't feel like I do fully. I get what you're saying, but like I know what it is, but I don't know what, like, where
his foot speed's a problem, his ball handling's a problem.
Maryland, there's somebody worth stopping for. Do you
offensively?
Derik Queen, he's very interesting to me. I feel like I know what he is a little bit more. And there's a world where this pick just sort of backfire, depending on the fit and things of that nature. But he can score, he can rebound. I think there's a better passer in there than we've seen in college.
Perhaps.
But you're worried about his defense.
I'm worried about his size. Is he really 6'10"? Like that's going to play a part. He's very skilled. Yeah. But being very skilled and being 6'10" is very different than being 6'8", 6'7".
I don't think he's 6'7", but I mean,
I don't know what he is.
So 16 points a game, 9 rebounds, 2 assists.
Yeah.
I think in college for bigs, like college is not always forward thinking in terms of the coaching, but you don't see, like in the NBA, you're starting to see more bigs, and you have seen more bigs get 4 or 5 assists regularly per game and things of that nature. I think he has the ability to do that. I think he has the feel to do that offensively.
And he can really handle the ball.
Yeah. Like, I think he could do some of those things. Also, the 3-point shooting is not there, but the touch from the free throw line is there. So maybe that's something that comes along. He's 77% free throw shooter on 6 attempts.
His form's pretty ugly.
Yeah. But that's the thing. If you're able to, like, he can make a slight adjustment and potentially improve. I wouldn't count on him being a knockdown shooter at any point. It's like if he becomes a better shooter, great. If not, whatever the game.
It's going to come down to his work ethic.
Yeah. And also what his size is, because if you have to play him at the 4 or like a real small ball 5, that's tough. But I like him. I like him more than most of the other guys we've talked about.
He's not my number 1 big in this draft either.
I don't think he's mine either, but I do like him. I like one mock draft had him at 6, which I feel like is a little ambitious.
It's insane.
Probably not the only one either. There was another one.
Yeah, I've seen it too.
Yeah, there's another one I saw in the top 10 where I was like, but we have time before that. Let's go to, we're in the East now. Duke, Cooper Flagg. He's not alone either. They might have 3 lottery guys in this team. We have Cooper Flagg, who is projected to be #1 overall pick. We also have Khaman Maluach, who is from South Sudan, who I was very, very interested in seeing for the World Cup last year, the World Cup 2 years ago, in the Olympics last year. He didn't play a ton in either. We saw him more in the Olympics because he's gotten older, but he's raw. Other than Cooper Flagg, unless you want to talk about Cooper Flagg, you're welcome to. But who intrigues you the most from Duke?
Knueppel. 6'7". It happens.
Amazing last name.
Yeah, for the first 5 times I said it, I just couldn't say it.
Yep. Big guard, Knueppel.
6'7", probably the toughest player on the team. Gets all the loose balls, does all the dirty work, brick wall defensively on the perimeter, on point of attack defense. Slow feet, but he's so smart, it doesn't matter. He beats you to the spot anyway. Shoots 40% from 3. Rebounds a little bit, facilitates a little bit. Without Cooper Flagg, he was the one throwing all the lobs, the Maluach, on the pick and rolls. He continually beats the closeouts. I love Knueppel's game, dude. Love it.
Flagg, Maluach, and Knueppel might all go top 10. It's not even.
And Tyrese Proctor could go the end of the first or the top of the second.
And Tyrese Proctor's another one, yes. He's not getting as much recognition because of his teammates. Maluach, do you think Maluach is what do you think he is at the next level?
Lob threat, vertical spacer, his wingspan for days. He has better 3-point shooting than he's been able to show at Duke. They just don't let him do it.
I agree.
I think he's got a huge upside.
I think there's more to his defense in terms of versatility that we'll see at the next level too. Cooper Flagg, he's going to go #1 overall. He's really good.
Cooper Flagg's the best player in this draft.
A lot of people want to hate on the guy for obvious reasons, but he makes it very hard to because he's really good. Okay, Mississippi State, Baylor.
Let's get right to it, dude. I'll let you tee that one up.
My favorite player in this draft, not the person who I think is the best player and should go #1 overall, just my favorite player to watch in this draft, who I think is going to be awesome, is VJ Edgecombe. VJ Edgecombe is a fucking baller. VJ Edgecombe is, I think, going to be one of the best players in this draft, easily. He can do a little bit of everything. The one thing that I've been worried about is the jump shot, and the jump shot has shown progress in college, has shown a good amount. I think he has to do more heavy lifting on that team than I expected. Also, you mentioned late in games. In terms of guys who gets the ball late in games or whatever, he does that. He's been playing at a high level. I'm familiar with him because Long Island Lutheran here in New York, one of the best schools that we have. It's on Long Island. He was excelling there. He played for the Bahamian national team last year in Olympic qualifiers, and he was awesome. He was dunking on grown men. He was trying to dunk on grown men and drawing fouls. He was also out there in fourth quarters with DeAndre Ayton, with Eric Gordon, NBA players, and making plays. And he's just a dude who makes plays. He's just a baller. And I think he's going to be a well-rounded, prototypical modern 2 guard in the league. And hopefully his jump shot is consistent from 3.
I echo all those sentiments. The only thing I'm worried about is I don't think he's 6'5".
I will take 6'4". If it's 6'3", he better shoot that shot effectively.
And he better have long arms.
The shot better be there. I think, yeah, I'd be surprised if his wingspan is not at least +3 inches. He's listed 6'5". I don't know what his wingspan is. We'll see in the combine for sure. If it's 6'8", awesome.
He's the best athlete in this draft.
Yes, I think he's a nice candidate to be in a dunk contest next year.
Easily.
And he's somebody who's he's going to be a league pass guy. People are going to want to see him on league pass or whatever. I think he's going to win a lot of people over, and hopefully he's in the tournament for a long time. I love the fact that Duke and Baylor could play each other in the second round. That's must see TV for if you're interested in the NBA draft at all. Right, Gonzaga versus Georgia, 8-9.
My guy, Asa Newell, love his game.
Yeah.
Love
Okay.
his
So
game.
this
6'10", 205, can move. Yep. His shots gotten better as the year went on.
Yep.
Like early in the season, he shot a knuckleball. Like the ball had no spin or backspin at all.
Mm-hmm.
Now it does. Looks good. Strong finisher around the rim. Explosive. Block shot and rebound. I like him a lot, man.
Lottery talent. Potential lottery pick. He is listed 6'11". TBD.
TBD.
He looks 6'11" in college. Don't know how he'll look 6'11" potentially in the NBA.
If you want to comp, man, I comp him to Lively a lot.
Lively.
Like, he's similar to Derik Lively of how he plays the game.
I like that comparison. You mentioned also the 3-point shot, about how it's progressed. Since December 14th, he's 34% from 3, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's an improvement given where he was. And has a bunch of games where there's a nice little 2 for 4, 2 for 3, 2 for 5 stretch. He's not going to do it on a ton of volume. You don't want him to because he's tall and could do so many other things.
And considering like he has good form, it's not like he's got an ugly shot.
Yeah, 30% 3-point shooter, but really after the last 10 games of the season, 34%. Illinois versus the winner of Texas, Xavier. So there's a few guys here that we could talk about, actually.
Yeah, this is a big one. Kasparas, Jakucionis, one of my favorite players in the entire draft.
Polarizing.
6'6". He's got broad shoulders, strong as an ox. Loves to shoot step back threes. Not afraid to take big shots as a rookie. Played professionally. Rebounds, assists. I like the guy a lot. Just not a vertical athlete.
No, but can create his own shot, which I like.
Yep.
The way he can do it too. He
gets to the free throw line too.
He's 6'6" listed. He looks like he could be 6'6" legitimately. I like his IQ, I like the shooting ability. We'll see where that goes. He's projected top 10. I think there are some people. He seems like he's going to be a divisive prospect. Like there's going to be some people who are like very high on him. Where like, man, I would take him 6, 7. There's going to be other people where I'm like, he's not a lottery guy for me.
I'm one of those guys where he's going to go top 5, top 6.
Your late in game theory applies to him.
Absolutely.
Late in games, he has the ball in his hands and he makes good plays.
Absolutely.
Matters a ton.
He just had a game winner a couple of games ago.
Yeah, that is true. Anybody in this Texas Xavier matchup?
Heck yeah.
Yes.
Tre Johnson, who I think's the 3rd best player in this draft.
So you would go big board, Cooper, VJ. Ace Bailey scares the shit out of me. We're not going to talk about him.
Oh, wait. No, so if we're going big board, it would be Cooper, Harper, VJ, Tre.
Okay. I feel like you agree with me on Bailey.
Ace. Yeah.
It's not for me.
Well, let me explain. Similar to Tre, he's one of the best tough shot makers in the league.
Sure.
Unlike Tre, as the games get tighter, he shrinks in the moment. Tre Johnson doesn't.
I just don't. With Ace, it's just the shooting. Not the shooting in terms of the shooting ability, but the shooting as in, I'm going to shoot this ball no matter what. It's just like, he's going to be mad, Nick. All right. Tre Johnson, tell me why you like him.
6'6", one of the hardest workers in the entire SEC. One of only 4 guys to ever lead the SEC as a freshman in scoring. The leader of that team as a freshman and his coaches, I heard this on a broadcast. The coaches said he works too hard. They got to stop him from coming out early to games and working before games.
He is arguably the most classic wing scorer, shooting guard, like just pure shooting guard in this draft, I think. Shooting nearly 40% from 3, can do it off screens, could create his own shot, could get downhill a little bit also, although I think he's going to be mostly a shooter. We'll see how often he gets downhill, but obviously
he facilitates better than people think too.
Yeah. I would be excited to take him 5th, 6th, something like that. I like Tre Johnson a good amount. I also saw one comparison to Allen Houston, which I was like, oh, that's beautiful.
That's who I modeled my jump shot after as a kid. I love Allen Houston.
One of my favorite players ever, Allen Houston.
And I'm a Heat fan, and I love Allen Houston.
I'm a New Yorker, so you know. Allen Houston was one of my first favorite players. just pure jump shot. Tre Johnson, if he's that, take it.